Hi everyone, my name is Adam GESC and welcome back to my channel. We are so close to the 2025 edition of the Eurovision Song Contest. And before Eurovision week starts, I'm going to showcase my music taste in more detail as I will be ranking all 36 songs that are competing in this year from worst to best. Obviously, this is my personal opinion and this is not an analysis on how I think each country will do in the contest, but I will save that for another video. Before I begin with this video, make sure you give this video a like, click subscribe, and leave a comment down below. This is most likely going to be a long video, so I will be giving my thoughts and opinions on each song as quickly as possible. And without further ado, let's begin with the ranking. In my last place, at number 36, is Georgia, who are sending Mariam Shengelia with Freedom. I am fully aware of her political stances, but pushing that aside, this song does absolutely nothing for me. It does sound very Georgian, which is always nice to witness for the sake of authenticity. The main reason why this is in my last place is because it is the most forgettable song in the entire lineup. Like, I can't even recall how the song actually goes. I also think the lyrics are too on the nose, and I generally tend to find these ballads very bland. At number 35 is Slovenia's entry, How Much Time Do We Have Left by Clemen. This is a very personal song for Clemen, and I can totally respect that, as the meaning of the song is actually lovely. However, just because the song has an impactful message doesn't automatically mean that the song is good. This as a song honestly puts me asleep, as the melody is a tad bit too generic. Number 34 is Serbia with Mila by Prink. I love a good Balkan ballad, or more so one that is done well. We've seen a load of brilliant Balkan ballads do well in Eurovision in the late 2000s and the early 2010s. And the reason why they did so well is because it sounded new and fresh to a global audience at the time. This is not one of those examples. Whilst ambitious on paper, Mila unfortunately falls flat for repeating a similar formula we are all too well familiar with. And to come from Serbia out of all countries is shocking enough, as they know how to deliver well in Eurovision more than any other Balkan country. My 33rd is Serbia's neighbour, Montenegro, who are sending Nina Sizic with Dobro Došli. Whilst this does sound more modern and is different enough from Mila, this is still a mid-ballad. I cannot deny that Nina Sizic is an incredible performer. She always knows how to convey this song incredibly well in a live performance. But at the same time, there is not enough power in it that makes it speak to me. Yes, there is a build-up in the song, but it kind of feels like Belgium's Silent Tree from last year, where the entire song is a build-up to a great ending, and it just ends very abruptly. I have seen plenty of people saying that the revamp has boosted this song up by good bits, but I actually think the revamp is quite weaker than the original, to be honest. The only reason why I say this is because in the original, there's a beautiful piano instrumental that appears at the beginning and at the end of the song that sticks with me more than any other part of the song. In a revamp, this element is completely taken out. Instead, we begin with an instrumental from the dramatic build-up to the last chorus, which to me kind of ruins the flow of how the original version was built up in the first place. This song isn't really bad by any means, it just doesn't speak to me. At number 32 is Portugal's entry, Deslocado by Napa. This song is slightly too chill for me to actually stream this, but I can appreciate it for what it is. This is the kind of song that will definitely be appropriate for a lounge setting, and I can admire songs like this in an alternative approach. What I will say is that the meaning of this song is very impactful, as it is not something that is generally discussed in music. And the way that the topic is expressed in this song definitely suits the vibe of it. As missing home can be like missing comfort, and that is expressed very clearly with how the song is written. Although this isn't usually my cup of tea, I can appreciate the song for the vibe and meaning alone. Number 31 is Azerbaijan, who are sending Run With You by Mama Gama. Whilst the overall quality of Azerbaijan's more recent entries has been very low, I respect that they are trying to send more traditional sounding songs for once, rather than just approaching Swedish rejects all the time. Run With You is not spectacular in any way, but this is easily the strongest of their 3 most recent entries. It has a catchy vibe to it that sticks out, even though there are much better examples of commercial pop songs that incorporate this kind of funky vibe. The highlight of the song is, of course, the instrumental solo in the chorus. Azerbaijan very rarely includes references to their culture in their Eurovision discography, so this definitely makes the song sound more authentic from their perspective. Overall, I'm not in love with this song, but I'll be happy to listen to it whenever it comes on. At number 30, it's Estonia with Espresso Macchiato by Tommy Cash. Whilst this will do very well from a local perspective, this is incredibly mixed within the Eurovision fandom. This song sounds completely obnoxious, but I actually like this. I can understand that the fake Italian accent can definitely put people off listening to this, but the overall production of this makes this sound incredibly catchy, which is a key element to making this an incredibly fun entry if you're willing not to take it too seriously. I'm not trying to say that you shouldn't take this song seriously, but it's definitely one that is way more enjoyable if you turn your brain off. However, because of this, it's not something I will come back to on a daily basis, but I can accept that this is a good fun song to add to the lineup. At number 29 is Spain with Esa Diva by Melody. To be honest, I didn't really give this song as much attention until very, very recently. Whilst the original version was just fine, it was the revamp that just made me a little bit conflicted. Like, I get they were trying to modernize it, but when I first listened to it, it kind of felt like it sounded a lot more dated than it originally was. But eventually I thought about the original version again, and that prompted me to re-listen to the revamp in my own time, and I actually think it's good now. It's still not really anything amazing by any standards, but I will still be happy to dance to it in Euroclub. And Melody does seem like a great performer from what I've witnessed thus far. Number 28 in my ranking is Latvia's entry, Berman Laimi by Tautumetis. I love a good group of women in Eurovision, especially when they showcase a more traditional approach to writing music. Until they qualified for the final last year, Latvia hasn't had a great track record for a very long time. So it's very nice to see them send something unique to the table every now and again. I love the ethereal presence of Tautumetis, and their harmonies are absolutely stunning. The only reason why this isn't higher in my rankings is because it can be a bit repetitive at parts, and there isn't a lot of room for the song to develop in any special way. Apart from the last minute, of course. I still enjoy the song nevertheless. And even though there are a few songs in their national final that I prefer, I knew this was going to win once I saw their performance, and I couldn't be happier for them. Number 27 is Italy, who are sending Volevo Essere Enduro by Lucio Corsi. Even though I did watch Sanremo this year, I didn't give it much attention because I wasn't really too invested in any of the ballads in the lineup. This is why I wasn't so keen on this at first. But I did give it some time to grow on me, and now I ended up liking it. It does have a very classic rock feel to it. Like, it sounds like something that would be heavily influenced by the Beatles, and Lucio does perform in a similar vein as David Bowie. Italy is a very ballad heavy country when it comes to Eurovision, so it's always nice to see them send a more underground alternative artist rather than sending any of their big names who regularly participate in Sanremo. Even though I quite liked Ali's song when it won the competition, I now think that this is a slightly better choice. At 26, it's Cyprus with Shush by Theo Evan. This is the one song in the lineup where I struggle to figure out where I sit with it. Sometimes I feel like it's a bit too generic of a pop song, and others I feel like it's a mighty bop. This is mainly because the verses and the choruses feel like two completely different songs, where one is an unnecessarily dramatic up-tempo song, with the other being a massively pop-friendly club anthem. However, the one thing that does stand out to me is the beats in the chorus. It does have that very early trance element, very Insomnia by Fateless, which prevents this from being another generic up-tempo pop song. I'll have to wait and see on how this will be performed before I figure out where I stand with this. But it's a good song nevertheless. 25 in my ranking is Luxembourg's entry, La Poupée Monte le Son by Laura Thorne. There is a good bit of love for this song, and I can definitely see why. It has a very innocent Europop vibe, very ABBA-esque at times, but it also sounds fresh and modern. The concept in particular is very relevant in terms of women's rights and feminism. This is especially accompanied with the influence of a former Eurovision winner, Poupée de Cire, Poupée de Son, from exactly 60 years ago, where it flips the whole scenario around and creates it into something new, which I think is incredible. I feel like the production and the way the song is written is not as strong and catchy as I would hope, but I still like it a lot. 24 is Armenia, who are sending Survivor by Parg. Unlike Luxembourg, this is not really something I would enjoy at all. Like, everyone is saying that this sounds like something that Imagine Dragons would do, which is not really my forte. Even though Parg is not vocally brilliant and Survivor is not lyrically great, this song is way too addicting not to enjoy. The actual melody is so catchy. There's a lot of power in this to make this a solid radio-friendly pop song, and the chants in the chorus are unironically amazing. This is very likely going to be a song that I would end up not liking by the end of the season. But for now, it's really good. At 23 is the Netherlands with C'est la vie by Claude. The Netherlands being disqualified last year took a huge toll on me as a Eurofan, especially with the fact that I adored Europapa last year. So I'm actually kind of glad that they decided to go through a more tame approach to avoid this scenario happening again. And to have someone as big as Claude representing them is such a smart move for them to do, as well as they would have done with Joost Klein. On the one hand, there are plenty of songs that sound like this that came out for well over a decade. On the other hand, this is a very sweet song with such a beautiful message. This also suits Claude perfectly with the combination of both English and French lyrics that will help resonate it to a large quantity of viewers. Number 22 is San Marino with Tutta l'Italia by Gabri Ponte. Considering how big of a fan I am of dance music, this should definitely be higher. However, this is not a full-on EDM banger, as there are a lot of hints of traditional Italian instruments and melodies. Despite this is still a high-quality banger. It's very anthemic, it's easy to sing along to, and the production is unquestionably solid. It's also so iconic how this was originally written as the new theme tune to Sanremo, but it is now an official Eurovision entry thanks to San Marino. Where would we be without them? 21 in my ranking is the United Kingdom with What the Hell Just Happened by Remember Monday. When I first heard it, there is quite a lot to take in. The song keeps on switching genres in between each of the verses and the chorus. But honestly, it makes it a very good risk for the United Kingdom as a way to redeem themselves after Ollie Alexander scored 0 points from the public, despite still finishing in the top 20, shall I add. I should also strongly emphasize that all of the girls have such phenomenal voices. Due to their previous experience in theatre, they all suit the whole theatrical vibe of this number seriously well. They are the key to what makes this such an outrageously pleasant entry, and it clearly would not be the same without them. Now I'm going to move into my top 20, where the next song is Norway's entry, Lighter by Kyle Alessandro. Melody Grand Prix this year was a bit of a letdown compared to how it built itself up over the past 5 years or so. Fortunately, Norway still managed to pick the strongest package out of the bunch. Lighter is an excellent boy bop that is well polished, accompanied by Kyle's impressive vocal range and charisma, building up to an brilliantly executed drop in the chorus. He also certainly knows how to perform, so I have no doubt that he will make his country proud. At number 19 is Malta, who are serving Mariana Conte. See what I did there? The whole buzz of this song may come across as a bit of a gimmick at first, with what the song originally intended to do, but after a couple of listens, you realize that it is a well-produced bop. This obviously has a very modern sound, but in a way we haven't really witnessed in Eurovision before, which I completely admire. Lyrically, it is iconic, as it perfectly sums up how it feels to be strong, confident, and speak up for your own rights no matter what other people tell you. There's also such a clever use of wordplay. Mariana Conte's vocal range is also insane, and I have faith that she will put on a show-stopping performance in Basel. Number 18 is France's entry, Maman by Luan. Although this feels like a pretty tame radio-friendly ballad, the emotional aspects are very subtle, which appeals to me a lot more than your plain average piano ballad with strings. I have also known Luan for a very long time, and she definitely knows how to pull off a great ballad from what I've heard from her before. The fact that she chose to sing about her former mother as well especially makes this very touching. There's not much else I can say about this, but it will be fascinating to see how well she stages this. Number 17 in my ranking is Ukraine, who are sending Bird of Prey by Zifferblatt. I wasn't really keen on this when I first heard it competing in Vidbeer, but when they released the revamped version, it immediately grew on me by such a large margin. The Ukrainian chants in the verses, combined with the somber sounding chorus and the dynamic guitar solo in the bridge, makes this an outstanding alt-rock entry. This is such a fantastic way to showcase a call for hope with what's currently happening in Ukraine. At number 16 is Croatia's entry, Poison Cake by Marko Bosniak. This may be a bit of a controversial placing for the song, but I completely understand why a lot of people hate this song. Yes, it's incredibly noisy, but I honestly love noise done well, and this is definitely an example of this. The fluctuation between the violently loud and the softer playful elements honestly fits so perfectly with the intention of this song. The national final performance also blew me away with the shock factor it conveyed, so it will be interesting if he will do the same in Basel. 15 to my ranking is Iceland, who are sending Vibe with Roa. I absolutely love these guys. They are just so full of joy, and literally everything they have to say is just hilariously nonsensical. Like all the content they keep putting up on their socials never fails to make me laugh. Roa as a song is obviously an infectious bop, and it really shows with their charismatic stage presence. The meaning and the lyrical contents are also hilarious, as the song was written about as something as simple as rowing a boat. As a whole, they are one of the main reasons why following Eurovision this year has been such a joy, and I really hope the general public will give them the credit they deserve. Number 14 is Switzerland with Voyage by Zoe May. I wasn't really sure how Switzerland were going to follow up from their win last year, but I am really impressed with what they brought to the table this year. Zoe May seems like a lovely person, and she managed to send such a beautifully heartfelt ballad. The fact that it's in French as well makes it sound even more pure. even though it feels soft for most of the song, I love how it slowly builds itself up, particularly with the dramatic bridge near the end, leading up to an astounding key change in the final chorus. No matter how it fares in the grand final, this is still fantastic to have in the lineup. At number 13, it's Greece's entry, Astromata by Claudia. Even though this is really high in my ranking, this is one I tend to forget every now and again, mainly because this was one that was revealed earlier on throughout the season. Whenever I hear the song, I then start to remember how excellent it is. Even if the song feels like a bit of a slow burner, the ethnic elements are incredible. What I also love about this is that even though it sounds like a ballad, there are small elements in the production that doesn't make it sound like a ballad at all. It might not be as memorable as other songs in the lineup, but you cannot deny that this is an outstanding ethnic song. Now I have come to the point in my ranking where I absolutely adore every single song. Number 12 in my ranking is Czechia with Kiss Kiss Goodbye by Adonix. I understand that this might not be everyone's cup of tea, but this usually happens with every Eurovision entry that sounds radio friendly. There are definitely times where I do not get engaged with these kinds of songs at all. But when Czechia sends these kinds of pop songs, they usually send them with a little bit of an alternative edge. And this is no different. The production is very solid, and Adonix has such an incredible vocal range. There are bittersweet elements, and there are other elements that sounds a little bit more dramatic, but the song stands out as a whole because of it. The dance break might feel slightly out of place, but I really admire that it tries to fit with the whole nature of the song, rather than just having silence with a few dramatic beats, which has definitely been the most overused method of creating a dance break. I have hope that Adonix will give Czechia a pretty strong result, as this is such a powerful song to keep their momentum going in Eurovision. In my 11th place, it's Albania with Germ by Skodra Elektronika. Despite just missing out on a spot in my top 10, I still love this as much as everyone else. Albania's best efforts in Eurovision usually always reference a part of their culture, but Sherm takes this aspect to a completely different level. There's a fiercely dramatic mix of folk, electronic beats, and strains that blend together into a full-on ethnic bop. Beatrice is absolutely phenomenal, as her unique vocal take is the primary feature of what makes this so magical. Gole's spoken word bit also adds to the intense atmosphere in relation to the subject matter. This is such a groundbreaking entry in Albania's timeline in the contest, and I really hope they receive a great result from it. Now we have finally made it into my top 10, and kicking it off at number 10 is Germany with Baller by Aberantina. Germany has not only finally sent a pop song that is not basic, but they've also sent a song that is fully in German. It's also undeniably a bit of a club banger, which is definitely up my street. I am fully aware that this song doesn't really have that much room for development, as the song immediately starts off with the first chorus, and it doesn't really change. But I don't care. I will immediately get down to any edgy pop banger like this. At number 9, it's Australia, who are sending Gojo with Milkshake Man. When I first listened to the song, I found it completely unsettling for various reasons. But it only took me a good week to realise that this is actually a pretty good bop. And eventually, throughout the rest of the season, my love for the song grew even more. This is an immensely wacky acid trip of a song that's full of food innuendos, and I am so here for it. I love a good cheeky innuendo, just as long as it's not too in your face. Gojo has also stated that this is a song that reflects on self-confidence, and I can clearly tell that he is showcasing his self-confidence in this song, alright. The main thing that sells this song for me is the production. Like, it's extremely noisy, but there are so many elements in the production that makes this one of, if not the catchiest song in the entire lineup. He was also brilliant at performing this in all of the pre-parties, so I am excited to see what he has to offer in Basel. Number 8 in my ranking is Sweden's entry, Bara Bara Bastu by Kai. Whilst I still love some of Sweden's most recent entries, it is so good that they are not only sending something that is not a pop song for once, but they are also sending something in Swedish. I definitely said this about Germany beforehand, didn't I? But regardless, this is an extremely fun song. Like, who doesn't love these three Swedish Finns having fun on stage singing about taking a good sauna? They are incredibly charismatic performers. The lyrical content is both wholesome and hilarious, and the song is catchy as hell. I'm aware that this is the current fan favourite, and it has every right to be. But there are other songs that I prefer over this, so that's why it's not as high as other people would normally place it. Number 7 is Lithuania with Tavo Akis by Catharsis. Oh my god, where do I begin with this? I always love a great rock anthem in Eurovision because there are so many subgenres of rock and you never really know what to expect from them. Whilst Ukraine has a more folky, progressive edge to it, this is more dark, moody, hard and anthemic, and I'm completely obsessed with it. There is also very deep lyrical content that perfectly aligns with the build-up of this song. With the beginning having a somber tone, the energetic rock sound kicking in the middle, and the haunting vocal chants leading up to a perfectly atmospheric ending. This song has absolutely everything for rock fans, so I really hope this pays off with everyone else. 6th in my ranking is Denmark, who are sending Sissal with Hallucination. Denmark, you are really onto something this year. To be fair, this sounds like something that would have done well in any Eurovision over the past 15 years. But if it slaps this hard, who cares? This is an insanely catchy dance pop tune that probably has more trance elements in contrast to similar entries in the past. I also have to say that Sissal's vocals are absolutely outstanding. Not only in the studio version, but she is also incredible every time she sings this song live, which does give me hope that Denmark may finally qualify for the first time this decade. Also, I absolutely adore her unfiltered personality, and she's definitely one of the highlights of this Eurovision season because of it. Moving on to my top 5, and in my 5th place is Poland's entry, Gaia by Justyna Steczkowska. I have always loved this song from the get-go, but this only climbed into my top 5 once I saw her perform at the pre-parties. I fully admire the witchy aesthetic of her presence as an artist, but the fact that Gaia sounds a lot more poppy is what makes this so fascinating in the first place. The production is completely mind-blowing, as there are a load of different elements that you would barely even notice unless you listen to this numerous times. The way she performs this alongside her dancers is also phenomenal, as there is so much going on in all of the performances I've seen her in. So I am definitely looking forward to seeing what unfolds from this in Basel. Number 4 in my ranking is Belgium's entry, Strobe Lights by Red Sebastian. Yet another dance anthem, but this sounds very different than any other dance song we've heard in Eurovision before. It definitely has a more underground feel to it, and it's very reminiscent to Belgian trance artists like Milk Inc., Silver, and Glasgow. The development of the song is so intriguingly good, which also incorporates with Red Sebastian's insane vocal range. Like, I don't even know how one can hold notes this high for an extended period of time this well. The high notes also perfectly correlates with the chaotically high drop, which always makes me come back to this on a regular basis. Number 3 may be a bit of a personal bias, which is Ireland with Like a Party by Emmy. Despite not being a fan favourite in Eurosong, which was Barbie Arlo by the way, this has always been my favourite in the selection. So I was in complete shock, but also over the moon when she won the selection. Emmy is so adorable and I feel so incredibly happy that she is representing us this year. Even though she has never touched down in Ireland beforehand, I love how she's trying to immerse herself into the culture of Ireland before the contest begins. I also love the concept of creating a positive twist on Like a Story in Space by releasing a cheery, child-friendly party anthem. It definitely reminds me of numerous Europop groups and artists from the late 90s and the early 2000s, such as Aqua, Venga Boys. I could go on. This is obviously not the kind of song that is unique to Irish culture, but it's still very different from what we've previously sent in the past. So I'm absolutely thrilled to be rooting for her throughout the entire season, and I wish her the best of luck for next week. At number 2, it's Austria with Wasted Love by JJ. Out of all the internally selected songs of this year, this is the one that blew me away the most. Although I do enjoy pop and Eurovision, the majority of these songs are either too radio friendly or too quirky for me to enjoy them to a full extent. However, this is the perfect way to do it. The production is incredibly atmospheric, which very slowly develops throughout different parts of the song. And it's beneficial for keeping me engaged the whole way through. Even though I knew JJ was going to do a pop song ever since he was first announced, I never thought he would send something this impressive. Like, his vocal range is out of this world. I so incredibly admire how he manages to maintain his falsetto throughout the entirety of the song. However, the one thing that sells this for me more than anything is the electronic breakdown near the end. Like, I was completely shocked when I first heard this, as it was not something I was expecting at all with these kinds of songs. The backing vocals incorporated in this part blends perfectly with the dramatic atmosphere that is built up from the very beginning. It feels like it would have been used in a dramatic movie trailer from the 2000s. I could go on about how much I love this song, and I cannot wait to see how well this will do in the contest. I know this is in contention to win, but even if it does, I'll be wholeheartedly proud of JJ. And lastly, my favourite entry of Eurovision 2025 is none other than Finland with Ikoma by Erika Fickman. Despite being well aware of Erika Fickman when she competed in UK in 2020, I wasn't too familiar with a lot of her other songs before I knew she was going to compete again this year. I was of course excited to see what she has to offer, but oh my god, I instantly fell in love with this from the very beginning. It's a very complex song when you listen to it for the first time, but the complexity of it is why I adore it so much in the first place. And I knew it would be locked in as my winner if it went to Eurovision. Erika Fickman has delivered a lot of great songs from the past, but this is unlike anything that she has done before, and I completely admire her for taking that risk. Like, every single element of this song, whether it be the deep electro verses, the overwhelmingly powerful chorus, and the outrageously hardcore techno break at the end, is just absolutely mind-blowing. I have honestly never been this generally invested in any new song since Let's Go For Tonight by Foxes, which is my favourite song of all time, by the way. In terms of lyrical content, there are plenty of sexual undertones, but unlike other entries from this year, they are extremely subtle. Outside of that, it also delivers a message of being free to express your true self, no matter what anyone else sees or thinks. And even though I was like bigender for 9 months beforehand, this song was confirmation that I am completely proud for being who I am today. Erica, if you're watching this, I couldn't thank you enough for making me feel so comfortable with my current gender. With the combination of various elements of dance music and the way the song spoke to me, Ikoma is undoubtedly my favourite Eurovision song of 2025. And even though I've already discussed my top 5 favourite Eurovision songs in a previous video, I am definitely considering this to be my new favourite Eurovision entry ever. So that's the end of my official ranking of all the entries competing in Eurovision 2025. What do you make of my ranking? Do you agree or disagree with any of my choices? And most importantly, what are your favourite Eurovision entries from this year? Let me know in the comments down below. And don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe to my channel. Anyway, here's to looking forward to Eurovision week, as I could not be more excited for this year's contest. Make sure you tune into my channel for more content that will be published throughout the week. And I will see you next time. Goodbye!
I'm excited!